So Deion, again, you look at Deion's career as a player, right? Deion had a lot going on. Again, never got in trouble off the field. Let me make that clear. We never got in trouble off the field. He was not an enigma. He wasn't somebody that a cancer in the locker room, anything like that. Deion was flamboyant. Deion was, the ultimate showman, and again, one of the most talented football players in the history of the sport, not just defensively, but just in general. That's what made Deion Deion. You wanted to forget about the money, forget about Deion's style, how he dressed, the cars, and all this other shit. What made Deion Sanders special was his talent and the fact that he got the most out of his talent. Period. Deion got the most out of his talent. He was an all-time great football player. Fast forward to Deion, the coach, right? Deion Sanders, the coach. That version of Deion has yet to prove himself as a coach at this level. And that version of Deion Sanders, he's doing all the marketing, doing he has a bunch of shit going on, making a ton of money, doing the documentaries and all that. That's fine. All that's fine. All the shit, all the bravado, all that shit means nothing if you don't win at a high level. It means nothing. The reason why Deion Sanders is Deion Sanders is because, again, he is one of the greatest football players of all time. He produced at a high level. If Deion Sanders didn't produce at the level he produced, he would just be another player, another athlete. We wouldn't be talking about right now. So forget about all that shit. Forget about all the stuff. All that shit doesn't mean, all the shit of the attention seeking, things of that nature. It's cool. We watch it. We like, you love athletes. Muhammad Ali was one of the biggest shit talkers of all time. You know what? Made Muhammad Ali? He was a beast in the ring. That's what made the talk. That's why we paid attention to the talking, because he backed it up at a high level. He was an all-time great, one of the greatest boxers of all time. So this version of Deion right now, as a coach, the direction that last year they started out 3-0, lost 8 of their last 9 games, finished like 4-12. They weren't expected to win a lot of games. He's taking over a program that was in just miserable shape before he got there. But even beyond the record, is you look at a program, you look at what direction is the program going in. So last year, look at the last 2 recruiting classes that Deion has had. 24, they were ranked 95th. In 25, they were ranked 82nd. So you're not getting high-level recruits. So, okay, cool. Recruiting is a big part of it, but if you can develop players at a high level, that can kind of negate some of the that can kind of negate where some of the rankings as far as your recruiting if it's not that high. There's not been a lot of player development because there's been too much turnover amongst players. Players were leaving left and right after this year, either willingly, voluntarily, or being pushed away. I heard one of the players that left Colorado said, and this really stood out, said that he didn't feel like this was a place where they emphasized player development. You rarely hear players talk like that. Players normally talk like, "Hey, not getting enough playing time," or whatever, personal issue with the coach, and you hear a number of a litany of excuses. You rarely hear a player come out and say they just, it's a lack. This program, I don't feel like I can develop at this program. That doesn't, you don't hear that kind of talk that often, and that stood out. That stood out to me when I heard that from that particular player. And I believe this was the player that was going back and forth with, that kind of him and Deion Sanders were going back and forth with on Twitter. That might have been the same player, but regardless, there's been turnover abound in that program amongst the coaches and the players. That's not good. Like, that's not how you build a championship to count. That's not how you build a consistent program. That's not how you built a winner in college football.